Boom shakalaka, what is going on everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love. Happy Saturday. Today's episode we are going to be talking about why this chart here proves that Bitcoin is the best investment you could have. Bitcoin is still the best, the perfect investment, and this chart here proves why. Also, if you're interested, towards the end I'll actually show you how to figure this stuff out with Python so you could do this stuff yourself if you were interested, because I'm doing that for fun. Now, if you think that's interesting, then you might definitely want to check out this episode. So, what is going on everybody? Happy Saturday. Today's episode, like I said, we're going to be talking about why Bitcoin is the perfect investment, and this chart right here proves it. Now this chart is from charts.woobull.com, so Willy Woo, he put together this chart, but I actually found out this chart because I was messing around doing some programming on my own, okay? Now this is something that I do as a hobby, but I was taking a look at Bitcoin and figuring out the Sharpe ratio. Now the Sharpe ratio, if we take a look, it's a measure that indicates the average return minus the risk-free return divided by the standard deviation of return on investment. Gosh, that sounds terrible. Okay, let me explain a little bit better for you. So basically this is the equation here, if you can see that. Sharpe return, we have a couple R's over a sigma. Okay, so this R is the return that you're getting. So this is the daily return on Bitcoin. This R right here is the risk-free return, which would be like putting your money in a bank account, which as we know in the United States, you get nothing for that. So that's zero. So basically the equation just comes down to the return you're getting over the standard deviation. Simple as that. Now, what type of numbers are we looking at for a Sharpe ratio? Well, what's considered to be a good Sharpe ratio that usually indicates a high degree of expected return for a relatively low amount of risk, usually any Sharpe ratio greater than 1 is considered acceptable to good by investors. A ratio higher than 2 is rated very good, and a ratio of 3 or higher is considered excellent. Okay, so basically 1 is considered acceptable, 2 is very good, and 3 or higher is considered excellent. So that brings me to this chart here. Let's take a look. This chart here is so that you can see everything. So we have Bitcoin in blue. We have US stocks in orange. We have US real estate in green. We have bonds in red. We have gold in, I think that's purple. We have emerging currencies as a dotted line. Okay, and then we have oil as a pink line. Now I'll put a link to this chart down in the description so you can take a look at this on your own. It's very interesting. Now, for those of you who don't know what emerging currencies are, those are the BRICS. So we have money in Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, if we take a look at these, okay, remember, here they said that a Sharpe ratio higher than 1 is considered acceptable to good by investors. So let's take a look at 1, okay? That's this line right here that I'm drawing with the mouse, okay? Everything below that is not even good to acceptable. So what things do we have below that? Well, we have pink, which is oil. We also have purple, which is gold. We have dotted line, emerging currencies. We also have the red line, which is bonds. All those things not even good to acceptable investments. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, but gold is blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? I mean, if you have to leave your country with gold, you better stick it far up your rectum because you're not getting out of your country with that stuff because they have metal detectors nowadays. So, all those things, not even, I mean, gold right now, yes, gold just peaked above a 1. As if you take a look all the way over here, gold just peaked above the 1. Now, so those are things that are not even acceptable to good. So let's look at things 1 to 2, okay? Right now, I have the mouse at 2, if it'll go there. Okay, here we go, at 2, okay? Basically, that's almost everything. So things between 1 and 2, we have green, US real estate, we have orange, US stocks, and those are between 1 and 2. So based on this, those are considered very good. Okay, stocks and real estate, very good investments. As a matter of fact, most people, when they get old, if they bought a house, they say, well, that's the best investment I ever made. And usually that's because that's the only investment they've ever made. Other than maybe listening to a relative about some investment advice, which usually isn't a good idea anyways. Now, if we take a look at the other investment that I haven't mentioned yet, okay, you guys might have been able to figure it out. The other investment I haven't mentioned yet, that one doesn't even touch below a 2. Holy shit. Yeah. Bitcoin hovers actually between 2 and 4. Insanely high Sharpe ratio. A ratio of 3 or higher is considered excellent, meaning that Bitcoin is an excellent investment. Even how volatile it is, even with the risk that you have to put out, based on the returns, you would be absolutely crazy not to invest in Bitcoin. I mean, this chart right here sums it up why you don't even need to mess around with the rest of these investments. Just buying and holding Bitcoin is one of the best things that you could possibly do. So, when Willy Woo took a look at these things, he calculated the Sharpe ratio over a 4-year hodl period, just because he figured that 4 years gives enough time for a whole entire Bitcoin cycle, from bull run to bear market, that type of thing. So that chart there just proves it. Bitcoin, still the best. Now, for those of you who want to, we can take a look at how to actually code this stuff. So basically, I'm programming a Python here, just using Jupyter Notebook, because it makes it easy. You have these little cells to program in. So we need to import pandas, which is a library, and import quandl, which is where we get the data, set a start and an end date. So I just made this 4 years long. Now make a variable Bitcoin, and we basically get that from quandl. Now quandl is a great place where you can get lots of different charts. This is from Bitstamp for the past 4 years because of the start and end date. And so we got that. And if we take a look at it, here are the closing prices for each of the days. So we have from October 2015 to October 2019. 4 years. Now we can go ahead and plot that. That's a chart that a lot of us are familiar with. Okay, we've all seen that chart before. And then what we can do is we can calculate the daily return. So we just take the data that we had there, you calculate the percent change, and when we do that, we can see the daily return. Sometimes the daily return is 2%. I mean, we all know the daily return on Bitcoin can be 5%, 10%, stuff like that, which is just crazy, because if you use one of these risk-free investments like a bank account, you never get any returns whatsoever. So then if we take a look, just make a little kernel density estimation chart, and this is what the average returns on Bitcoin look like. So generally between 0.2 and minus 0.2. Okay, now I believe that's between 20% and negative 20%. Pretty crazy. Most of it though falling between like 5 to 10%. Okay, then what we do is to calculate the Sharpe's ratio. Now remember, the Sharpe's ratio, if we take a look here again, that is the return we're getting over the standard deviation. So we just calculate that stuff. So we have the daily returns that we calculated, we get the mean of them, so that's the daily return. Okay, and then we get the standard deviation of those returns, calculate that. We can also get a cumulative return just to see. Now over those 4 years, you get a almost 3,000% return on your investment. Pretty badass. Much better than a bank account, much better than all of these other assets there. And then we calculate the Sharpe ratio. So we just take the returns we're getting over the standard deviation, and that gives us the daily Sharpe ratio. Now Bitcoin's traded 365 days a year, so that gives us an annualized Sharpe ratio of that. Now one thing I will mention is I did not get numbers as high as Willy Woo. I haven't figured out why yet, just because I wanted to make it, because I'm excited by this stuff. But I will figure out why. I'm going to mess around with the dates, try and get longer time periods. He also had data from blockchain.com. I got mine from Bitstamp. So I'm going to keep messing around with that and figure out why. If you guys know why my annualized Sharpe ratio is not as high as his, let me know. But that right there is absolutely amazing, why Bitcoin is the best investment out there, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Obviously not financial advice, not telling you what to do with your money, but you know, I figured what better to do on a beautiful Saturday than let you know why Bitcoin is the best investment for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you check out the Monarch wallet, also Monarch Pay, the world's first recurring decentralized crypto payments. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.